Good day class. We will understand power in AC circuits with this week's series of video lectures. In this lecture, we will try to understand what complex power is. We will first describe the complex power in AC circuits. Next, we will derive the power in an inductor and a capacitor. And then finally also examine the complex power for series and parallel connected loads. Let us first define complex powers in terms of the power triangle as magnitude of S at an angle of theta. The complex power can also be written in terms of voltage and current phasors, which implies S is equal to Vrms Irms at an angle theta. Now, the voltage and current phasors are defined as Vrms at an angle alpha and Irms at an angle beta respectively. The impedance of this circuit can be Z equal to R plus Jx or magnitude of Z at an angle of theta. The angle theta is equal to alpha minus beta. This can be rewritten as Vrms Irms at an angle of alpha minus beta by replacing theta with alpha minus beta. This can be rewritten as Vrms at an angle alpha times Irms at an angle minus beta. We can see that the current in the complex power is the conjugate of the current phasor. Defining I star as the complex conjugate of I, that is, I star is equal to Irms at an angle of minus beta, we can say that the complex power S is equal to the voltage phasor times the conjugate of the current phasor. Next, let us look at the complex power in an inductor. The impedance of a pure inductor is ZL, which is equal to J omega L or omega L at an angle of 90 degrees. Taking the voltage as the reference phasor V is equal to V at an angle 0 degrees, we find the current phasor as V divided by ZL or V at an angle 0 divided by omega L at an angle of 90 degrees, which is V divided by omega L at an angle of minus 90 degrees. So, the complex power in an inductor, which is SL is equal to VI conjugate, is equal to V angle 0 into I at an angle of 90 degrees. This is equal to I times ZL times I conjugate, which is equal to J omega L times I square. The real power consumed by an inductor, which is VI cos theta or VI cos 90 degrees, is 0 watts, and the reactive power is VI sin 90 degrees, which is V times I, which is omega L I square. This tallies with our earlier derivation in video 1 about the real power in the inductor being 0. Next, let us look at the complex power in a capacitor. The impedance of a pure capacitor is Zc is equal to 1 divided by J omega C, which is equal to 1 by omega C at an angle of minus 90 degrees. Taking the voltage as the reference phasor again, we get V is equal to V at an angle of 0 degrees. We can find the current phasor as V divided by Zc or V at an angle 0 degrees divided by 1 by omega C at an angle of minus 90 degrees, which is omega Cv at an angle of 90 degrees. So, the complex power in a capacitor is Sc is equal to Vi conjugate, which is equal to minus J into I square divided by omega C. The real power consumed by the capacitor is Pc, which is equal to Vi cos minus 90 degrees, which is 0, and the reactive power is Vi sin minus 90 degrees, which is minus Vi, which is equal to minus I square by omega C, or it is also equal to minus omega Cv square. This also tallies with our earlier derivation for the capacitor in video 1 about the real power of the capacitor being 0. We consider the inductance to have a positive reactive power, while we consider the capacitance to have a negative reactive power. Thus, for both inductor and capacitor, we can say that there is no real power but only reactive power exchange. Let us look at an example to better understand the concept of complex power. A voltage source with series resistor is connected to a parallel combination of inductor and resistor. Find the load voltage and load current. Use these values to find the complex number and hence the real power and reactive power. Also find power delivered to the load. First, we need to find the equivalent load here, which is 10 ohms parallel to J6 ohms, which gives us a value of 5.145 at an angle of 59 degrees ohms. The source voltage is 110 volts at 0 degrees. Next, the voltage across the load can be found by the voltage divider rule, where VL is equal to ZL divided by 4 plus ZL times 110 at an angle of 0 degrees. This gives us a load voltage of 70.9 at an angle of 25.44 degree volts. Since we know both the load voltage and the load impedance, we can find the load current as VL divided by ZL, which is 13.8 at an angle of minus 33.6 degrees amperes. The complex power is given as S is equal to VL into I conjugate. This gives us a value of 978 at an angle of 59 degrees volt amperes, or 503 plus J839 volt amperes. Here 503 is the real power in watts, while 839 is the reactive power in volt ampere reactive. The complex power delivered by the source is Vs times the Is conjugate. Here, since Is is equal to IL, we get a value of 1518 at an angle of 33.6 degrees volt amperes, or 1264 plus J838 volt amperes. Now, let us see what happens to the complex power of loads in series or parallel connections. For the series connected loads, the complex power S is equal to Vs times I conjugate. We can say that the Vs phasor is equal to the sum of V1 and V2 phasors. Thus, S is equal to V1 plus V2 times I conjugate, or V1 I conjugate plus V2 I conjugate. This is the same as the sum of the complex power of the individual loads. Similarly, for parallel connected loads, the complex power is equal to Vs times I conjugate. In this case, we can say that the current phasor is equal to the sum of the I1 and I2 phasors. Thus, S is equal to V times I1 plus I2 conjugate, or V times I1 conjugate plus V times I2 conjugate. This is also the same as the sum of the complex power of the individual loads. Thus, irrespective of series and parallel connected loads, the total complex power is the summation of the complex power of individual loads. Let us look at another example to understand this property better. A voltage source supplies power to an electric heater with resistance R, an inductive element and a capacitor as shown below. The supply voltage is 120 volts 50 Hz and the power consumed in the heater is 2.5 kilowatts. Find the reactive power and the complex power provided by the source and the current I drawn from the supply. We can find the power for each of the loads. The heater is a purely resistive element and consumes 2.5 kilowatt real power and 0 reactive power. The inductive element consumes 0 real power, but its reactive power is voltage square divided by omega L, which is 2.4 kilovolt ampere reactive. The capacitor also consumes 0 real power and its reactive power is given by Qc, which is equal to minus V square divided by capacitive impedance, which is minus 600 VAR or volt ampere reactive. The total real power now is a summation of all the real powers, which is 2.5 kilowatts, while the total reactive power, which is again a summation of all the reactive powers, is 1.8 kVAR. Thus, the total complex power now is P plus jQ, or 2500 plus J 1800 volt amperes. The apparent power now is the square root of the P square plus Q square. So, which gives us a value of 3081 volt amperes. Using this apparent power, we can find the IRMS, which is the current phasor I, as 25.7 amperes. Let us summarize the different powers in a tabular form. The complex power is given as V into I conjugate, and it is also equal to P plus jQ with units of volt amperes. The apparent power is the magnitude of the complex power and is equal to V times I, or square root of P square plus Q square, again with units of volt amperes. The real power is also called the active power or the average power and is P, which is the real component of the complex power, and is equal to Vi cos theta or S cos theta with units of watts. The reactive power is the imaginary component of the complex power and is equal to Vi sin theta or S sin theta with units of volt ampere reactive or VAR or VAR. We also derive the complex power in an inductor and capacitor and then examine the complex power for loads connected in series and parallel.